What is up, you guys? So I have a quick tip for you guys today. I know it's not Tuesday when I usually do my quick tip Tuesday videos, whatever. But this one is about using the mid side in your EQs. Now, I've always kind of been a little, mid side processing has always been a little bit mysterious to me, and I have always known exactly kind of what it does, but I just never really felt like I could use it in a good way. So I was kind of fooling around with the Ableton EQ, and if you didn't know this, the Ableton stock EQ, which is what I'm going to use in this example, use whatever EQ you feel comfortable with. They all kind of do the same things, and most EQs should have a mid-side mode as well. So if we go over here on the EQ 8 in Ableton 9, you can see that we have 3 modes: stereo, left and right, and mid-side. So stereo is what we're used to working with normally. And left and right just means you can EQ the left side from the right side differently, and I use that quite a bit. So that way you can make things sound much wider than they actually are with just EQ, instead of having to add delays or pan things ridiculously far. So that's really useful as well. But mid side is kind of now this thing of like, we can process what's in the center and what's on the sides differently, and so that is really useful. So I'm going to show you what this sounds like in stereo. So this is just the basic EQ that I applied to this before, and then I thought, hey, I might as well do a little mid-side. So let me show you what this sounds like. Just regular stereo, the stock EQ, the way everyone uses it. And another thing, I also chose this exact preset and these chords because these definitely need EQ, and they're definitely kind of troublesome and kind of not too pretty sounding, so that's kind of why I chose that. So now let's listen to that again. And now let me show you the mid side. So now I've added mid side, so I've processed the mid and the sides differently. So you can hear how much wider that sounds. So if we just A and B that again real quick, I'll A and B it as it's playing. Alright, so now that you kind of get an idea of what you can kind of do with this, let me show you kind of how I use it. So usually I like to make my EQ nice and big with this little arrow so I can get the spectrum behind it. And the first thing I do is I go to mid side down here. I click on the mid first. So right here on edit, you see that you have the different modes. So if you were on left and right, that would also be your left and right side. So let's go back over here to the mid side, and I like working with the EQ like this because it's kind of more what I'm used to with hardware EQs and those kind of things, seeing it like in this fashion. So anyway, and if you want, you can add more blocks to the spectrum to get more precise, but that eats up a little bit more CPU. And you can also scale and blah blah blah. So what I like to do is just typically whatever I would do in stereo, like on the EQ, I like to have that be what I do for the center, for the mid. So but not always, definitely not. So I just cut out kind of the 1K, and I wanted to boost up the high and the low a little bit for the centers. So the center is kind of more, it's kind of more the extreme high punches and low punches, and then the mid I would push to the mid frequencies I would push to the sides. And then I also kind of brought down the low end a little bit, just because I don't want that much bass to get through this. So but again, the mid is a good place to put low frequencies. So now if we go to the side, you can see what I basically cut out over here. I kind of boosted a tiny bit over here, and you can see my boosts and cuts are around 3 dB or so. So they're not too like extreme. Even here, I think I did an extreme negative 7.5 dB cut around 1K, but that's a very typical cut right there at the 1K range. Most producers and engineers cut out 1K because it's a treble frequency and it builds up a lot, just like low end. So now if we go over here, you can see I just kind of boosted in the kind of around the sections where, where it sounded nice. And I've always told you guys that it's better to cut out frequencies as much as you can as opposed to boosting frequencies. But I find with mid-side, I like to kind of boost just a little bit, just just kind of to get a little bit more color in there. And even like the phasing that I can kind of notice with it, it sounds nice. It's kind of colored, and I like that. And so I think that's basically it. That's all I wanted to really talk to you guys about. So again, thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in on Wednesdays when I do my sound design Wednesdays series. So that's an ongoing series. Every week I spend like half an hour or an hour just going over like sound design concepts. So next week I'm gonna do Spire, that revealed sound synth. Really good stuff right there. Last week I did the A.N.A synth, that which is one of my favorite synths right now. Actually, what this preset right here is. And be sure to check me out on Facebook and all that stuff for free stuff and presets that I give back to you guys as a thank you for following me. And thanks, guys. Lates.